Hey everyone, welcome back to the Personal Growth Talk podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm here with my awesome co-host, Anna.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to be back. And we've got a really interesting topic for you today, one that so many people struggle with when learning or speaking English.
Absolutely. Today's episode is called Talk English Without Thinking. And no, we're not asking you to turn off your brain entirely, but we are talking about how to stop overthinking every single word when you speak English.
Exactly. If you've ever frozen mid-sentence because you weren't sure about your grammar, or spent 5 minutes in your head just trying to translate a simple phrase, this episode is for you.
We'll talk about why we do that, how it holds us back, and most importantly, how to break free from that habit so you can speak English more fluently, more confidently, and way more naturally.
And we're going to keep it real, share some personal stories, and give you practical tools you can start using right away.
So stick around, grab your coffee or your walking shoes, wherever you're listening from, and let's dive into how to finally talk English without thinking. So Anna, let's be honest. Have you ever totally blanked out or overthought while speaking English?
Oh, 100%. I remember once in college I was trying to ask my professor a question, but I kept replaying the sentence in my head like, could you explain? Or, can you explain? Is explain even the right word? By the time I spoke, I just said, never mind.
Oh no, that sounds so familiar. I had a moment like that in a job interview. I knew exactly what I wanted to say in my head, but I kept trying to make it sound perfect English. I paused, corrected myself like 3 times, and the interviewer just stared at me. I think I lost the job to my own brain. I own.
Been there. It's so common. And I think most people don't even realize how much mental energy goes into just talking, especially in a second language.
Right. It's not just about vocabulary or grammar, it's the pressure. You're thinking, what if I make a mistake? Will I sound stupid? Is my accent too strong?
And that fear creates a kind of block. It's like trying to drive with the brakes on. You're moving but painfully slow and full of self-doubt.
Exactly. And you know what? The irony is, the more we overthink, the worse our English sounds. It's stiff. It's robotic. It's not how people really talk.
Totally. Which is why today we're breaking down that wall, because it's possible to speak smoothly, even if you make mistakes. And it starts by letting go of that need to sound perfect.
So true. And later in the episode, we're going to give you tips and even a little live speaking challenge to help you actually practice this.
But first, let's dive into why our brains get in the way when we speak. What's really going on up there?
Let's get into it. All right, so let's talk about what's really going on when someone struggles to speak English fluently, even when they know the words.
Yeah, let's break it down. Because most people think, oh, I need more vocabulary, or I have to memorize more grammar rules. But the real problem isn't the knowledge, it's the processing.
Exactly. It's not that you don't know what to say, it's that your brain is doing too much at once. You're trying to translate, analyze grammar, pronounce everything perfectly, all while staying calm.
It's like trying to juggle while doing math homework. There's too much happening, and your brain just freezes.
That freeze is what we call the mind block. It's when your brain is overloaded with pressure to perform, and your thoughts get stuck instead of flowing out naturally.
And it usually comes from fear of making mistakes, fear of sounding weird, fear of being judged. That fear triggers a kind of perfection mode.
Right. And in perfection mode, Nothing feels good enough. You start second-guessing even simple phrases like, "How are you?" or "I went to the store."
Let's give a quick example. Say someone wants to say, "Yesterday I went shopping," but instead of just saying it, they think,
Wait, is it go or went? Do I say yesterday first or last? Should I add to the mall? What if I get it wrong?
exactly. And by the time you figured it out, the moment's passed. Or worse, you say nothing.
And that silence becomes a habit. The brain starts to believe it's safer not to speak than to mess up.
But here's the truth. Native speakers mess up all the time. They pause, say, use the wrong word, start over. It's normal.
Totally. Speaking isn't a perfect science, it's a flow. And when we treat it like an exam, we block that flow.
So, if you're listening right now and you've ever felt that brain freeze in English, know that you're not alone and it's not a lack of intelligence. It's a common mental pattern.
And it can absolutely be unlearned. The key is getting out of your own way, and that's where the idea of talking without thinking comes in.
Coming up next, we're going to explain exactly what that really means and how it can set you free.
Stay with us.
All right, so let's talk about this idea that might sound a little strange at first, talking without thinking. What do we really mean by that?
Yeah, just to be clear, we're not saying turn off your brain and say anything without meaning. It's not about being careless. It's about letting go of over-control.
Exactly. It's about speaking without obsessing, without filtering, without stopping yourself every 2 seconds to double-check grammar in your head.
It's the same as when you drive a car or ride a bike. At first, you're thinking about every little movement, but later, it becomes automatic. You just do it. That's fluency. That's what we want with speaking.
And here's the cool thing. Your brain already knows more English than you give it credit for. You just have to trust it to speak without micromanaging every word.
Love that. Trust is the key word. Think about kids learning to speak. They don't stop and ask, was that past perfect tense? They just try, they mess up, and they keep going.
Right. And their confidence grows naturally because they aren't judging themselves every second. Adults, on the other hand, tend to think they need to be perfect before they speak.
Which is backwards. You don't become fluent and then speak. You speak, and that's how you become fluent.
Boom. That's the philosophy in one sentence.
Exactly. So when we say talk English without thinking, we're talking about building the courage to speak freely, trusting what you know, and letting the conversation flow.
And here's the best part. When you stop overthinking, your natural rhythm, tone, and confidence start to show up. That's when you sound real. That's when people connect with you.
And isn't connection the real goal? Coming up, we're going to talk about some of the common traps that keep people stuck and how to break free. So now that we've talked about the idea of talking English without thinking, let's get into the real-life mistakes and mental traps that people fall into all the time.
Yes, because let's be honest, we've all done these things, and if you recognize yourself in any of these, don't worry, you're human.
All right, trap number 1, translating in your head. You're trying to form your sentence in your native language first, then translate it into English word by word.
This one is huge. The problem is, languages don't work like math. The structure is different, the rhythm is different, so the translation ends up awkward or wrong, and you feel stuck.
And it slows you down so much. Your brain's like, wait, what's the English for? Tuve. Wait, past tense of have boom, conversation over.
So true. Okay, trap number 2, grammar obsession. You're in the middle of a casual conversation, and suddenly you're debating whether to use the present perfect continuous.
Oh man, you're at a cafe ordering coffee. and you're worried about conditionals. No one cares. Just get the coffee.
Exactly. Perfection slows fluency. Mistakes are part of the process, and they often go unnoticed by native speakers.
Trap number 3. Fear of judgment. This one's subtle, but powerful. You start thinking, what if they laugh at my accent? Or, what if I sound stupid?
And that fear makes you go silent, or speak so quietly and slowly that you lose all your confidence.
Here's a quick role play to show the difference. I'll be overthinking Oliver. You be relaxed Rachel.
Okay. Hi, I just went to the market. They had so many fresh apples.
I go, went. Yesterday. Market. Apples. Many. Fresh. Is it okay?
That was painful but real. We've all been Oliver at some point, and it's okay, but Rachel gets her point across, and that's the goal.
Exactly. She may not be perfect, but she's confident, and she's connecting.
So if you're stuck in any of these traps, translation, grammar obsession, fear of judgment, don't beat yourself up. Just recognize it and move forward.
Because awareness is the first step to change.
And coming up next, we're going to give you some actual tools and techniques to break those habits and start speaking. Okay, so now that we've identified the traps, let's shift gears. It's time to talk solutions. How do we actually stop overthinking and start speaking English with confidence?
Let's start with the mindset. Because no matter how many tricks or exercises you learn, if your mind isn't in the right place, you'll keep hesitating.
Right. So mindset shift number 1, progress over perfection. You don't need perfect grammar to communicate. You need clarity, confidence, and consistency.
Exactly. Think about it. When someone talks to you in your language and makes a few mistakes, do you care? Probably not. You just appreciate the effort.
Mindset shift number 2, fluency is built through use, not waiting. Stop waiting until you're ready. Speak now. Speak messy. Speak often.
Let's get into strategies. These are real things you can try today.
First strategy, think in English. Even when you're alone, describe what you're doing. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm going to the store. You don't need to speak it aloud. Just train your brain to stay in English mode.
So powerful. Here's another one. Shadowing technique. Listen to a native speaker. YouTube, podcast, movie. Pause after each sentence and repeat it out loud with the same tone and speed. No time to overthink. Just speak.
Next up, 1-minute freestyle. Set a timer for 1 minute. Pick any topic, food, your weekend, your dream job, and speak nonstop. No stopping, no editing. Just go.
And pro tip, record yourself. It feels weird at first, but it lets you hear your real progress over time. Plus, you start getting comfortable with your own voice in English.
Another great one. Use filler phrases to keep talking. Things like, let me think. What I mean is, well, it's kind of like, they help you stay in flow, even if you're searching for the next word.
Yes! Native speakers do this all the time. It's totally okay to pause, to breathe, to say, It's normal. You're human, not a robot.
And one more strategy. No pausing to look things up mid-sentence. That kills flow. If you forget a word, explain around it. Like, the thing you use to open cans, instead of pausing to Google can opener. That's real fluency.
All of these work because they shift your focus from correctness to communication. That's the secret.
You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be understood.
And when you let go of the pressure, speaking becomes fun again.
Coming up next, we're going to actually practice speaking without thinking. You'll get a simple challenge you can do right now with us.
Let's do it. All right, now it's time to actually try it. This is your moment to speak English without overthinking.
We're going to guide you through a quick speaking challenge that you can do right now wherever you are. No pressure, just play along. Ready?
Here's how it works. We'll give you a topic. You'll speak about it for 1 full minute non-stop. Doesn't matter if you repeat words, pause, or make mistakes. Just keep going.
And here's the most important rule. No translating in your head. Say whatever comes out. Trust your brain. Ready.
Your first topic is my morning routine. Go ahead, set a timer if you want, or just freestyle for a minute starting now. Pause 5 to 10 seconds for dramatic effect or to allow live speaking.
Awesome. If you're actually doing this, you're already ahead of most learners. You're training your fluency muscle.
Let's try one more. A place I love to visit. Again, no planning, no perfect sentences. Just describe, like you're telling a friend.
Nice. If you feel awkward or stuck, that's totally okay. That's how you grow. Over time, this becomes easier and even fun.
Remember, fluency comes from flow, not from fear. The more you speak without stopping yourself, the more natural it becomes.
So challenge yourself to do one of these every day. 1 minute, one topic, that's it.
Coming up, we'll wrap things up with a recap and some closing thoughts to keep you motivated. So, if you've made it this far, take a moment to be proud of yourself. You showed up, you listened, you practiced. That's what growth looks like.
Exactly. And remember, speaking English without overthinking isn't about being fearless. It's about being brave in spite of the fear.
Every time you choose to speak, even if it's messy, you're rewiring your brain. You're creating a new, more confident version of yourself.
We want you to take this episode as a reminder. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need fancy words. You just need to show up and speak.
And trust yourself. Trust your instincts. English is not just a skill. It's a bridge to connection, growth, and new experiences.
So keep going, keep practicing, and most of all, keep believing that you can speak freely, because you can.
Thank you for being with us today. We hope this episode helped you feel a little lighter, a little stronger, and a little more ready to speak without thinking.
This was the Personal Growth Talk podcast, and we'll see you in the next one.
Take care and talk boldly. Before you go, if this episode helped you or inspired you, even a little, make sure to follow or subscribe to the podcast.
And hey, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment, share your favorite part, or tell us what's one sentence you spoke today without overthinking.
If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button and share this with a friend who's learning English too. Let's grow together.
And don't forget to check out our playlist Personal Growth Talk podcast for more deep, honest conversations just like this.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most of all,